Brighton has a rich history of theatrical heritage. We have the Theatre Royal and the much missed Hippodrome, which we'll tell you more about later. But of course, here on the pier, it also had a great theatrical history. Now the problem really with the Palace Pier, like any seaside pier, is how do you make your money in the down period? Now theatres, of course, on piers really only have a few months, the summer season, maybe the occasional pantomime, but most of the time the theatre remains dark. Now here at Brighton, they were very successful because they tend to have better weather down in the Sussex coast. But the theatre itself remains something of a mystery. It had a bit of an accident, something of a mysterious fire in 1975. And after that, the theatre went dark and it was left unattended for quite a long period. But then they decided to clear it out and someone stored the theatre away. By that I mean, the curtains, the boxes, all that sort of stuff. And it just disappeared. No one to this day actually knows where it's gone. So if you know where the remains of the Palace Pier Theatre here in Brighton are, do let us know. But for now, all we have are the wonderful memories. And behind me here, in these glittering lights, it still remains a place of entertainment, full of young people enjoying themselves, basking in somewhat different spotlights. What you're looking at now is the old stage door of the Palace Pier Theatre in Brighton. So many stars have gone through this door to grace that huge and wonderful stage. Other great stars to appear here at the Theatre Royal Brighton include Marlene Dietrich, who wasn't too shy about appearing in provincial theatre. She followed this particular date with a week's stint at Wimbledon Theatre. And then of course Hollywood star Rex Harrison. Possibly one of the biggest names that appeared here at the Theatre Royal Brighton was none other than Ben-Hur himself, Charlton Heston. Now here's where it gets interesting, because lots and lots of theatre companies like to try out their particular productions here in Brighton, as they believe that the audiences in Brighton can really give a full indication of how well the performance and the play, whatever it may be, a musical, will do when it finally reaches London's glittering West End. But not everything has been a great success, as we all know in show business. So here we are at the Theatre Royal Brighton. It's the main entrance, and of course it's a spectacular entrance. When you're going through here, you do get a rich sense of history and all the magnificent productions that have gone on. Currently today you can see the likes of Dirty Dancing and the Rocky Horror Show. Not quite sure it would have been the sort of production Dame Flora Robson, a real sort of regular here, would have liked. Now, as I said, lots and lots of main shows opened here prior to arriving in the West End, because people really did truly believe that Brighton audiences were very disconcerting and would know, of course, whether it could be a success. What happens today in 2018 is this: you can actually go on a guided theatre tour, and I really would recommend this because you get to go backstage, and apparently there's even a gulp bar. That was set up many, many years ago, and apparently it's a bar where you can down a quick drink in the middle of a performance if you need a little bit of, Dutch courage during the show. But as I say, the guided tours are really worth it. You get to see backstage, and there's so much going on, including, if you dare, the famous theatre ghost. Well, which theatre doesn't have one? So this is how the Brighton Hippodrome looks today, and it's hard to imagine so many great stars have graced this stage. As I say, the Beatles created such a sensation way back in the early 60s when they arrived. And big names, of course, who've remained friends today, like Des O'Connor, who told me that it was one of his favourite venues to appear in. Bruce Forsyth also made a huge success here, as did many others, the Rolling Stones. But like the fate of many theatres of that time, come the early 60s, it appears even here in Brighton, variety theatre was on the decline. And albeit that it was one of Max Miller's very favourite venues to play, it sadly came to an end and closed as a variety theatre. It was for a short period a TV studio, but then we do have the likes of Mecca Bingo to thank for keeping it going and possibly standing right until this day. Now there is a campaign group getting together to make sure that this wonderful theatre, which allegedly still remains relatively intact with inside all of this boarded up and graffiti laden building, could return to a live venue once again. But looking at it now in 2018, it's hard to imagine just how many stars grace those doors and of course the screaming fans outside. Now here we are in the centre of Middle Street in the heart of Brighton, and behind me of course the now boarded up and sadly unloved Hippodrome Theatre. It's hard to imagine that the flamboyant pianist Liberace actually walked up this street and appeared here to great success. Alongside of course presented by Bernard Delfont, Hollywood stars like Laurel and Hardy. So many famous people did enjoy and grace this Hippodrome stage, but sadly today this is all that they would get to see. I hope you're enjoying our little trips around some of England's unloved theatres. If you are and you want to know more or simply get in touch, drop me a tweet at NeilSean1. I'm Neil Sean and I'll see you next time.